I'm just supposed to drop my pants and make that available to you. Is that how this works?
You need to rein it in.
Our outstanding chief, Jim Wassel, will be retiring, and a new chief must be found.
You're not getting anything. It's
So,
a fishing
it's
a fishing expedition. On 11/24/2025, we had a visitor who requested public records. This was not handled correctly, and I would like to thank the unidentified person with the video camera for exposing our weakness in the area of public records and how they can be requested.
There is no reason. You are literally admitting to committing a crime.
Fishing, and I don't know what you're fishing for.
Are we allowed to go?
Huh?
Are we allowed to go?
It's not how it works at the Free Press, sir.
No.
The Open Meetings Act allows that.
And in 2026 is going to be the year that I'm going to be passing the torch.
You just walk around paranoid all the time? Hey everyone, I am free. It is December 9th, 2025. I am here at Browns Point, going over to Fire District 13's HQ. This is a follow-up. I'm going to the public meeting to address my concerns and seek redress of grievances regarding the behavior of Chief Wassel when I arrived on November 24th. Following up on leads regarding the district not being in compliance with the Public Records Act. So we're coming on over here to participate in the meeting, speak at public comment, ask some questions, and submit an additional set of requests for records. Good morning.
Good morning. Come on.
All right. Excuse me, I got a quick question for you. Where did you find the procedures manual, the one that's prominently displayed?
You mean our policy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the policy up in the book up front.
Oh, great. Can I see that?
Certainly.
Thanks. Oh, this is kind of the overall policy manual, including public records.
Yep, that's our public records policy right there.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll take a look at that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I do have a question. So I noticed that the this is from 2013.
Correct.
I was on the website this morning, and
Okay.
I noticed that you guys have an updated policy. Do you know when that one that just came into effect is going to be replacing this?
I can't answer that. Maybe Chief Wassel can.
Hey, Chief Wassel, do you know when the updated policy for the policy procedure manual online is going to replace this one?
As soon as I review it and put it in the book.
Okay, so the one that is online is considered active and current for the district?
Until it gets updated, yeah.
Okay.
Members of the general public here today.
You? And then I'll log this on here in 2 minutes.
Are we allowed to go?
Huh?
Are we allowed to go?
See the policy says we can.
I do not give my permission to be on.
It's not how it works at the Free Press, sir.
No.
The Open Meetings Act allows that. Title 42, Chapter 30.
Let's take a moment, Commissioner Zuluaga, to discuss the law. Not the imaginary law you attempted to enforce at the Browns Point-Dash Point Fire District meeting. Not the because I said so law. Not the I don't like being on camera law. But the actual law Commissioner. You know, the one passed by the legislature, interpreted by the courts, and binding on every government official in Washington state. You see, in Washington, members of the public have a legal right to record public meetings. Members of the public are in charge of you. That right comes from a few places, but let's start with the big one. Yeah, that's right. You know, the good old First Amendment of the United States Constitution. The one you hate. Yeah, that First Amendment. You know, the one you swore to uphold in your oath of office? I'll have to do a public records request on that one. The one that protects freedom of the press and guarantees the public's right to observe their government. The very one that does not mysteriously vanish when a citizen shows up with a camera. Now, moving closer to home, we have that pesky Washington Open Public Meetings Act, Commissioner, which states quite plainly, quote, all persons shall be permitted to attend any meeting, end quote. You know, the one found in RCW 4230030. Not all persons except those with cameras. Not all persons unless a commissioner gets uncomfortable. Not all persons unless someone decides the public seeing government in action is, well, you know, inconvenient. Just all persons, period, Commissioner. And the Attorney General cleared up any possible confusion back in 1998. Yeah, that's right, Commissioner. This has been settled since before some of your firefighters were even born. That's awkward. Anyways, the Attorney General's opinion in 1998, number 15, says a governing body may not prohibit video or sound recording of a meeting required to be open to the public. You know, the chief lawyer for the entire state. That's who the Attorney General is. I wasn't sure if you were aware of that or not. They may only regulate recording to prevent actual disruption. Not pretend disruption, not discomfort, not irritation, not feelings, actual disruption, Commissioner. And that brings us to the very instructive case of Zink versus the City of Mesa. And that was handled at the Division 3 Court of Appeals. Yeah, City of Mesa fought it and were destroyed in court. Quote, by conditioning Miss Zink's attendance at the City Council meeting on her agreement not to make a video recording, Mesa violated Miss Zink's right under the Open Meetings Act. Woo, yikes. Sound familiar at all, Commissioner? It should, because that's exactly what you were trying to do. The City of Mesa lost that case, just as you lost the moment you opened your mouth and tried to stop a lawful recording at a public meeting. You're not in charge of that stuff, Commissioner. The people are in charge of that stuff. And let's not forget your attempt to invoke Washington's privacy law. Yeah, the one I quoted to you. You know, RCW 97330. As though a public meeting held by public officials in a public building under a statute literally called the Open Public Meetings Act is somehow a private conversation. You got me on that one there, Commissioner. If you think a fire commissioner's public meeting is private, well, then, Commissioner, I regret to inform you, I think you're probably in the wrong line of work. Let's not overlook the district's own policy as well, which was apparently sitting on the shelf right behind you the entire time you were speaking.
Yeah, I've got the policy up in the book up front.
Oh, great. Can I see that?
Certainly.
Thanks.
I wonder if you've ever read it. It emphasizes, quote, fullest assistance and public access and compliance with the Public Records Act. Not a word about banning cameras. Not even a hint that a commissioner can silence the press because he feels ill at ease under public scrutiny. In other words, your own policy contradicts you. The statute contradicts you. The court contradicts you. The Attorney General contradicts you, and the Constitution contradicts you. The only person who agreed with you, and this is awkward, Commissioner, is well, you. That's it. That's the only person that agreed with that.
I do not give my permission.
Are you one of the commissioners? Sir, are you one of the commissioners?
Who are you?
I'm with Inland Auditing Media. Are you one of the commissioners?
Well, that's where the commissioners sit up here. Yes, I am.
All right. Doesn't have to be antagonistic, sir. I'm just here covering this story for the meeting.
Roll call here. Commissioner Zuluaga. I'm here. Commissioner Knoll. Here. Via Zoom. Commissioner Malone is present. All right. Before we get to the substantive part of the agenda, I just want to welcome everybody to the December meeting of the Pierce County Fire District number 13 Board of Commissioners, and I want to acknowledge an incident that, regarding certain public records that occurred recently. I want to state for the record that the district does maintain and has maintained a disclosure policy entitled the Records Policy and Procedures. Additionally, on May 13th of this year, the board approved resolution number 25-353 pursuant to RCW 4256 470 subsection 4, determining the maintenance of a records index would be unduly burdensome for a volunteer fire district. While the records policy and resolution were maintained in hard copy form, the recent inquiry revealed the information was not available on the district's website.
I'm telling you,
Procedure for what?
for Public Records Act for this Pierce County Fire
It's
District.
on the website. You are
It has
more
to
than
be
welcome to go and
prominently
get it.
displayed at the central office.
It is on the website.
That's not the central
Well,
office.
I'm sorry, but that's
And
the
I also
best
want to
we're going to
inspect the
do.
records index.
You're
Now
not going to
listen,
expect anything at this
listen.
time.
After ensuring the records policy and resolution were accessible in an ADA compliant format, both documents, including a records request form and an authorization to disclose health information, were recently added to the district's website. I believe they're also posted over on this board as well. And just as the district staff and volunteers train extensively to respond to events such as fires, medical emergencies, marine water rescues, and motor vehicle accidents within our district, the recent media inquiry indicates courses and/or refresher programs to ensure staff and volunteers are familiar with the requirements of Chapter 4256 RCW may be appropriate. The board is committing to ensuring such training occurs. And with that said, the board encourages public participation, and a public comment period is included on the agenda at the end of the meeting. I believe we've already mentioned that there is a sign-in sheet for people who wish to comment. A name is not needed, just however you would like to be called forward by whatever name, number, some sort of identifying factor so we can keep in order to the order of speakers. Go to Dave Knoll first.
I guess given the recent events, I would like to say that from my perspective, Fire District 13 commissioners, which are really, we're part of the citizens of the district, that we entrust the fire chief and his staff to follow all district policies and procedures. This includes awareness and adherence to various local, county, and state regulations. When results fall short of meeting expectations, I expect acknowledgement and recognition of missteps. I also would expect to see an action plan of steps for education and training to include all appropriate staff. The end result must be policies and procedures which are visible, available, and understood. So this is kind of a framework to me and really representing our citizens and taxpayers that going forward, that the actions that are around policies and procedures and interfaces with the public need to be monitored, evaluated, and to be accountable for this.
On 11/24/2025, we had a visitor who requested public records. This was not handled correctly, and I would like to thank the unidentified person with the video camera for exposing our weakness in the area of public records and how they can be requested. This encounter did not show the fire chief in a positive light, which has been reflected in the many responses made by the public. The aftermath of this encounter has provided us with an avenue to make the next request more open and available. With assistance from our board and department attorneys, we know what holes to fill in the process. We have training scheduled to begin next week on Tuesday, 12/16 at 10 a.m. That'll run till noon, and we will be attending and put these practices in place. We will also reach out to the Washington State Secretary of State for records retention schedule training. We have the schedule and are using it to follow what records can be archived with their office. First, we will be completing any available records request training. We have had a lot of communication from people all over the United States concerning this matter, and again, want to thank those individuals who took the time to share their thoughts. The department will be better for this unfortunate encounter. We are looking at this as a training opportunity, and we will be better. Again, thank you to the unidentified individual who came to us. We will be a better fire department for your visit. And that's the chief's report.
In the landscape of local government, where transparency should be the norm but too often feels like the exception, what happened at Pierce County Fire District 13 deserves a candid and honest acknowledgement. Because within the same district, we are seeing two very different examples of how public officials choose to carry themselves. On one side, we have Commissioner Zualaga, an unfortunately typical tyrant who exemplifies the entrenched, hubris-driven public employee who treats accountability as an inconvenience and the public as a nuisance. His conduct reflects the very pattern people have come to recognize and resent: dismissiveness, hostility, and a clear disinterest in doing the right thing. And the fact that he is retiring does not excuse it. If anything, it underscores it. He has no incentive to change, and he behaves accordingly. However, on the other hand, we have Fire Chief Jim Wassell. He, too, is retiring, as you'll hear later in this story. He, too, could have chosen to stonewall, deflect, or simply wait out the clock, like a coward, like Commissioner Zualaga. Many would have, most do. But he did something different, something difficult. He acknowledged the failings in the district's public records process openly as the fire chief and public records officer. He did so without evasion or defensiveness. He recognized the problem. He accepted responsibility and did so knowing full well that his apology would be published on YouTube for thousands to see, tens of thousands to see. That is what doing the right thing looks like. That's hard, and I applaud the fire chief's willingness to do so. Let me be unmistakably clear. I am not, as many of you know, anti-government. I am anti-bad government, Commissioner Zualaga. I am opposed to the individuals who believe their titles exempt them from scrutiny, who think their authority is a shield rather than a responsibility. Commissioner Zualaga embodies that problem. Chief Wassell has chosen a path apart from that. While having committed to serious actions against transparency, he, unlike Commissioner Zualaga, has come forward to admit and seemingly do his best to correct it before retirement. Grace matters. We should have the grace to acknowledge that when someone in public service chooses integrity over ego, Commissioner Zualaga, Fire Chief Wassell, thank you for what you did in your statement.
Any questions from the commissioners?
I would like to, go ahead. I'd like to acknowledge the chief and the fire department for their efforts at Dash Point. They helped raise the Christmas tree. They helped bring Santa down there. I think we had over 250 kids and citizens down there. They brought a lot of joy. It's a tradition they've been doing for years, and I think the turnout was probably 12 to 15 firefighters in both the raising of the tree and the event down there. So thank you, not just to you, Chief, but to all the firefighters who showed up and made it a great event. Thank you.
I see the name of Steve from Inland Auditing Media. Whenever you're ready, we'll start the timer.
Thanks. I wrote this yesterday for my comments, so I just wanted to start by thanking Commissioner Noel, Malone, and the fire chief for your comments. I come before District 13 leadership because of the incident at the headquarters on November 24th that raised serious concern regarding transparency. Not only as a journalist, but most importantly, the citizens of Fire District 13 and even further afield, the citizens of Pierce County reached out to me after the video. Before stepping onto District 13 property, multiple county and district residents reached out with a very specific warning. Attempting to make an in-person public records request at Fire District 13 would be met with resistance, denial, and contempt. Acting on these leads, I arrived to test whether those concerns were grounded in fact, and as seen in my story, that is. What I documented on video now viewed widely across Washington and the United States was the fire chief openly refusing to accept an in-person public records request. Additionally, every single other employee and volunteer that was within the district headquarters that day was asked to assist with my records request. I requested assistance over 30 times for over an hour. All those individuals made eye contact with me and or heard me seeking assistance to no avail. These are not small procedural errors. These are statutory obligations that exist to ensure public trust, accountability, and lawful access to government records, which I know the commissioners and the fire chief understand. Since the release of the story, the public response has been overwhelming to my company. Not only in correspondence I've received from others who have expressed their awareness of these problems with the district, but with the new evidence that indicates that the district continues to disregard the act even after my visit. I brought that. The commission would like it, commissioners. This overwhelming response underscores something important. Transparency matters. People from across Pierce County, Washington State, and beyond care deeply when they see a public agency appear to obstruct lawful access to information. The volume of concern expressed to your district is not because of me, it's because of what the people witnessed on camera. I do have some questions I wish to enter into the public record here today, sent to me by citizens that relate to requests they made, as well as some of my own. On November 24, 2025, I made a request to Chief Wassel on video regarding recording to the district for responsive records regarding the calculus corroborating the extent of the undue burdens from the records index exemption per RCW 4256-70 Clause 2. Is that request being processed? As of now, the request is on its 11th day, and I haven't received a 5-day response in accordance with Section 520. I want the calculus and evidence for how you came to the conclusion that you either do have a records index or do not have a records index in accordance with either subsection 3 or subsection 4.
You keep throwing the numbers out there. You put something in
I'm just
writing, and I will provide whatever it is that you want.
Section 520
You've been recording
You've
it.
got 5 days to respond to the public records request. I'm going to give you my email address.
That's all I need.
If you don't
Of course I'm going to respond. It's a public records request.
No, I'm not requesting the procedures manual and the index by that. I'm looking to use them because they're meant to aid you in making a public records request. Is it the position of the district and its PRO that the declaration for commercial purposes on its new request form for records is required for every public records request? If so, is it possible to have that section amended to indicate that such a signature would only be required if a list of individuals is requested as per RCW 4256-80 subsection 2, denies the district the authority to have anyone identify when requesting records unless they are requesting a list of individuals, and you can see that in SEIU Healthcare versus DSHS. The district's new published procedures for the act includes hours for copying and inspection. Hours available list a total of 25 hours. However, RCW 4256-90 requires a minimum of 30 hours per week. Is the district going to adjust its hours to comply with the act?
30 seconds, please.
Section 13 of the procedures manual identifies that a complete current index of all records maintained by the district would be unduly burdensome. The Act doesn't require a complete index of all records. It only requires an index of a narrow cross-section of records as identified in 4256-73. Is the district going to create that index since the exemption identifies an undue burden that is irrelevant to the requirements of the Act? And either if I could get more time or just address these other questions afterwards, because I do have several more questions I'd like to go over.
If you could actually submit them to us, we can, because I would like to review those.
Yeah, and I'd like to do so in person while I'm here because I'm already here today. So when I'm done,
I'll grant you another 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
I don't see we have an overwhelming list.
I appreciate it, Commissioner. Thank you. On the district's webpage for public records, it is identified that the district had relief from the index that had been, quote, had been in place for many years, but that the Board of Commissioners contemplated in May to restate their policy. Where can the public find the recognition of the district regarding the undue burdens it believed it had prior to the Commissioner's contemplation and creation of the 2025 resolution exempting itself from the current from the Public Records Index? A subscriber of my company sent me a copy of their public records request for the records log. However, the records log was not sent to that individual from what I saw. Does the district have a records log of public disclosure requests? Where in the district's central office here can the prominently displayed procedures manual be inspected in accordance with 4256-40 subsection 1? I believe it's the old policy is in the manual I looked at earlier. I just want to see if that could get updated. Is the district, through its fire commissioners and fire chief, willing to issue a full-throated recognition to the citizens of Pierce County and to District 13, or basically does what you did earlier speak for the district on whole? What is being done to ensure that the district adheres to the Act going forward so that no such incident as witnessed from November 24, 2025 happens again? Has the district conducted an AAR subsequent to my interaction with Chief Wassel to determine what led to the witnessed outcomes on November 24, 2025, and what are the outcomes of the AAR? And last question, Chief Wassel was given an adequate review of his performance as fire chief and public records officer just a few months ago here in 2025. Do the commissioners still stand by that review, and is the district going to conduct a supplemental review of the chief in light of recent incidents?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. If you could leave a copy with us, because you did have quite
Sure.
a few there.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem.
See, things are
Commissioner
crazy.
Malone, are you the president of the fire commission?
No.
You're not. Okay. I had a quick question. I had a interaction with
I'm really late for an appointment.
Commissioner Zualog. He was saying you can't record in there, but obviously you guys didn't ask to stop that. So is that something that you guys restrict recording? Do you have any comment on behalf of the commission? No comment? Okay. All right, we're gonna have to wait for Commissioner Zuloaga and see if we can get a response from him. Commissioner Zuloaga, was it your personal point, or was it the position of the board when you spoke earlier about recording that the fire commission doesn't allow recording in a public area? Do you have any comment about that? I know you're retiring next month, but I just wanted to see if I could get a comment on that. Does the fire commission support First Amendment protected activities and liberties? No comment on the First Amendment or willingness to have transparency at an open public meeting with the press? I'll take that as a no. All right, so we saw there how the meeting went. You know, I was really happy to hear and see how Commissioners Knoll and Malone were or did respond to this, as well as the fire chief. You know, I'm sure none of them were happy to respond the way that they did or to take the positions that they did, but you have to give credit where credit's due. They did the right thing. They were professional about it, and I think that's fantastic that they did the right thing. Commissioner Zuloaga, you can tell he's short, as a lot of people would refer to. Basically, he's got a very short period of time remaining, and you could see it in his really terrible attitude. He was rude, officious. I mean, in my opinion, just doesn't really love freedom a lot. I mean, you could see based on his response when it doesn't matter anymore because the commissioner has a little more than a month left in his term and he goes into retirement, you really see Commissioner Zuloaga's true colors there. He doesn't want to address it. He wants to try to control and be a tyrant and abuse people's liberties by saying, you can't be doing this stuff here. Now, to the credit, again, to swing back to the positives, to the credit of the fire chief and Commissioners Malone and Knoll, they did the right things there. You could see Commissioner Malone, probably not in my top 10 fans, might be number 11. But, you know, he walked away, refused to answer any questions. But at the end of the day, they did the right thing. We're going to be doing follow-up stories to ensure compliance from the Pierce County Fire District 13. I think we can say that, A, the allegations did have merit. I mean, we saw what happened. But we can say that because of the citizens of Pierce County, the citizens of Fire District 13, and citizens further afield that watched my media, watched my news story, it is because of citizen action bringing their frustrations to the awareness of Fire District 13 that changes are being made. So rest assured we'll be following up on this, but that's definitely a great situation. At least for a first step there. Hopefully, if that new guy becomes the fire commissioner to replace Fire Commissioner Zuloaga on his way out, hopefully he'll be less tyrannical, less angry, more liberty-loving, more respectful of what the function of press is. You can hate the press, you can hate the people that do the press work, but at the end of the day, those allegations had merit. It proved what was wrong here, and I would have to assume it demonstrates that there is significant change that needs to be that needs to happen, as the fire commissioners and the fire chief recognize.
Welcome back to the very end of the video where the nights get longer, the air gets sharper, and the truth stands out clearer against the silence. If you're hearing this, you're one of the very few who stick around to not just witness, but understand. In this quiet part of the video, we reflect, share what fuels us, and say a few things to help the algorithm help us reach someone new. December is when the world winds down, not this channel. So let's close the book on the year with keywords, philosophy, and the reasons we don't go silent, no matter how cold it gets. The December 2025 SEO keyword cluster. Reasonable articulatable suspicion. No RAS, no ID. Detained without suspicion. Unlawful detainment audit. Fourth Amendment audit. Terry stop exposed. ID refusal education. Filming cops legally. First Amendment audit. Sidewalk rights confrontation. FOIA request denied. Corrupt public officials exposed. Government employee misconduct. City Hall audit confrontation. Mayor caught lying. Retaliatory arrest for filming. Police officer walks off job. Refusal to provide badge number. Citizen journalist exposes cover-up. Violation of open records law. You won't believe what this cop said. Tyrant cop gets owned. Arrested for filming again. Cop tries to delete footage. Body cam reveals truth. Public official loses it on camera. Shut down by the Constitution. First Amendment violation caught on video. Audit goes viral. Caught on camera lying to the public. City Hall confrontation. Courthouse audit. Police station audit. School board exposure. DMV meltdown. Sheriff's office corruption. Public library filming rights. Fire department audit. Federal building standoff. Post office audit fails. Do you have to show ID? How to film police legally. What is reasonable suspicion? Public photography rights. How to file a complaint on law enforcement. When are detentions illegal? Passive resistance explained. Legal to film on government property. Civil rights training for cops. Know your rights when stopped. And now on to the December philosophical readings and reflections from David Thoreau. Civil disobedience. Disobedience is the true foundation of liberty. The obedient must be slaves. My reflection is that when you record from a sidewalk, ask tough questions and don't move just because they said to. That's not obstruction. It's resistance. And resistance is how liberty breathes. And from famous poet and Russian writer Alexander Solzhenitsyn, let the lie come into the world. Let it even triumph, but not through me. My reflection as it relates to my journalism is that's why I film. That's why I post. That's why I confront them when they say you cannot record. I will not be a part of that lie. From Cicero, from his text On Duties. Salus populi suprema lex esto. Translated, the good of the people is the greatest law. My reflection is that public servants often forget you serve the people, not the other way around. If the camera makes you uncomfortable, you're in the wrong job. And finally this month, from one of my favorites, James Madison in Federalist 51. If men were angels, no government would be necessary. My reflection on that is don't assume they'll do the right thing. Record it, test it, question it, build the controls. Now I've got some questions for all of you for December. A little pre-Christmas and holiday homework, if you will. Which government agency is the least transparent in your town? Has a cop ever demanded ID from you with no reason? And what did you do? Should government buildings be required to remain open for public audits during the holidays? What was the most shocking audit you saw this year? Do you trust your local government more or less 2025 and why? And finally, I just want to say to you all this December of 2025, I greatly appreciate you. I could not be doing this without your interest in my journalism and my push for transparency wherever I go in seeking my stories. I want to thank you all for that support. I want to wish you all and do wish you all the best in your 2025 holidays and the best going into a 2026 as we pursue greater transparency and expose corruption from tyranny and tyrants alike from here and into 26. Thank you very much. Happy holidays.